New York, 1875. Gaslight flickers, like dying stars, over Helena Blavatsky's desk as her pen races across parchment, ink pooling like blood beneath her trembling hand. The Secret Doctrine takes shape not as a book, but as a cipher, a labyrinth of serpentine symbols, lotus, mandalas, and astral equations, meant to veil truths too volatile for mortal minds. Shadows cling to the walls of her study, alive with whispers. A figure materializes from the gloom, features obscured by a hood, voice a blade of ice. They will weaponize what you reveal. Erase the key. She hesitates, then buries a single pager Rosetta Stone to her cosmic code within the journal's spine. When she dies decades later, the secret dies with her. Until now, Dr. Lila Crane, a historian of the occult, unearths the journal in a forgotten archive beneath Columbia University. Its leather binding seeps cold, as though charged with static from another dimension. The pages breathe, symbols shift under her flashlights, beam constellations realigning, serpents slithering through margins. But it's the date that chills her, 2025. The fifth root race ascends, or falls. She snaps a photo. The flash ignites a spark in the text. By dawn, the archive is ash, Lila's body reduced to a silhouette of cinders. Authorities dismiss. It has faulty wiring. Only the journal survives. Unscathed. Analysis reveals the horror. Blavatsky's symbols aren't mere metaphor. They're a neural language, designed to rewire the brain, a trigger hidden in plain sight. The fire wasn't an accident. Something guards these secrets. And as the world lurches toward 2025, the journal begins to replicate. Copies surface in Berlin, Kyoto, Buenos Aires. Each discovery preceded by a death. Each death a warning. Decode the cipher, and you caught apotheosis or annihilation. The game is alive. The clock ticks, and in the margins of history, a question smolders. Did Blavatsky encode a salvation or a curse? Dr. Elara Voss moves through the world like a ghost-haunted half-alive. Tenured at Columbia University at 34, she lectures on esoteric traditions with the clinical detachment of a pathologist dissecting a corpse. Her students whisper about her icy brilliance, the way she dismisses mysticism as a diagnostic category, slicing through ancient rituals with Occam's razor. They don't know about the scars beneath her blazer's sleeves, the ones she traces each night while staring at the lone photograph of her mother, Elara Voss, barefoot in a Nepalese monsoon, grinning beside a stone stela carved with a serpent lotus flame. Triad, the same symbol etched into the urn holding her ashes. She chose madness over you. Her father spat the night 16-year-old Elara found him burning Amara's journals, chasing fairy tales in the Himalayas. Let her rot there. But the past never stays buried. The package arrives on a Tuesday, reeking of burnt sage and inevitability. Inside, a charred fragment of vellum, its edges still smoldering, as though pulled from a fire that refuses to die. The handwriting is Blavatsky. Lara knows it like a recurring nightmare. Having spent her adolescence obsessively comparing her mother's notes to the Secret Doctrine, the text is a fever dream of Sanskrit and geometric sigils, but two elements scream into the silence. 2025. Circled in what might be blood, and a map fragment pointing to a Himalayan peak labeled the Temple of the Three Suns. Tucked between the Pajiza Polaroid of Amara, older than in Elara's photo. Standing before a cave mouth marked with the serpent, lotus flame. Dated 3 months after her presumed death, Elara's hands shake. Coincidence, she tells herself. A hoax. But then the symbols begin to move. The serpent sheds its skin, The lotus blooms and rots in a 13-second loop. The flame flickers in time with her pulse. She slams the journal shut. When she reopens it, the triad has multiplied, swarming the margins like a hive ant. The map's coordinates now match a Tibetan monastery flagged in her mother's emails. That's when her laptop pings with a message from @Rinzen_truthseeker. Your mother asked me the same question before she vanished. Is the triad a lock or a key? Come to Dharamshala. The cipher is alive, Dr. Voss, and it's hungry. Enter Felix Chen, a 22-year-old hacker who materializes in her office, like a poltergeist, reeking of energy drinks and arrogance. You're trending on dark web occult boards, he says, tossing a USB drive onto her desk. Turns out Blavatsky's metaphors are fractal equations. This one, he taps the serpent lotus flame on her screen, is a geotemporal marker, matches sites in Egypt, India, and your mum's last known location. His smirk fades as footage plays. The Giza Plateau, where 3 teens chanted the triad's syllables into a camcorder last summer. Their bodies were found the next morning, brains liquefied, irises scorched, with tiny flaming lotuses. Whatever this code is, it's not just text, it's a virus. And your mum's diary? He zooms in on Amara's final entry. The triad is the bridge. 2025 is the door. They're coming through. Elara's skepticism curdles into dread. That night, in her apartment, the fragment, closer, sickly jadand, projects a hologram of Blavatsky's journal page into the air. The serpent uncoils, hissing, in a dead dialect of Proto-Indo-European. The lotus petals peel back to reveal an eye. The flame, it leaps from the page, searing the triad into her wall. Downstairs, her mailbox explodes. Now the race begins. The triad's symbology is no accident. The serpent, kundalini energy, DNA helix, lotus chakra, awakening, quantum vortex, and flame, etheric destruction, rebirth, mirror. Blavatsky's root race theory, a belief that humanity evolves through apocalyptic cycles, but this isn't mythology. It's a blueprint. Modern physicists note eerie overlaps between her diagrams and string theories, calabiomorpholds, while neurologists at Stanford recently found that the triad's fractal pattern triggers temporal lobe spikes akin to near-death experiences. Is the 2025 awakening a psychological threshold, a metaphysical singularity, or a literal door? Rinzen meets them in a Dharamshala safe house, his face a topographical map of sorrow. Amara believed the triad sites are anchors, he says, unrolling a scroll showing the Himalayan temple superimposed over Siharen's large hadron collider. Man-made energies are straining the veil. 2025 isn't a date, it's a collision course. Felix, ever the pragmatist, hacks into satellite imagery. All triad sites now emit anomalous infrared signatures. Like they're charging up, he mutters. Elara's phone buzzes a notification for a lecture she didn't schedule. The 2025 deception. Ascension or annihilation, the host, her mother's name, the location, a latitude matching the temple on the map. When they arrive, the hall is packed with hollow-eyed attendees murmuring the triad like a mantra. The lights dim, a hologram of Amara flickers to life. Younger, fiercer Elara, it whispers, "You've seen the code. Now see the truth." The projection shifts, the temple pulsing with green light, as a shadow, vast, tentacled, wrong thrashes against its gates. The crowd chants faster. Someone's nose begins to bleed. Felix grabs Elara's arm. "We need to go. Now." But Rinzen stares at the hologram, tears cutting through the dust on his cheeks. "Your mother didn't abandon you," he says. "She's trapped there. And whatever's coming through, it's using her voice. The temple's coordinates burn in Elara's pocket. Somewhere, a journal page replicates. Somewhere, a door cracks open. Asterisk. The air in the Himalayan temple tastes of ozone and iron, thick enough to choke on. Above the snow-crowned peaks, the planetary alignment stitches the sky into a clockwork nightmare. Saturn's rings, razor-edged, Jupiter's storm eye, glaring, 3 moons conjoined like a celestial triquetra. Below, the temple, its walls, carved with a serpent lotus flame, bleed a bioluminescent sap that pools into the triad's grooves, igniting a network of veins across the stone. The Order of Kronos stands assembled, their hooded robes stained red in the unholy light, chanting a mantra that vibrates in Elara's molars. As above, so below, burn the chaff. Crown the worthy. Their leader, a gaunt figure with eyes like smoked glass, raises Blavatsky's journal, now fused with the temple's central dais, its pages unfurling into a spire of writhing symbols. The bridge is built. He enters. The door opens. The ground shudders. A fault line cracks through the Himalayas, swallowing villages whole. Elara's necklace, her mother's obsidian pendant, etched with the same triad, burns against her chest. Rinzan's final words echo. The device doesn't create energy. It channels it. From them, she understands now. The temple isn't a machine. It's a filter. The Order's enlightenment is a eugenics of the soul, siphoning consciousness from billions to feed a privileged few. Felix, bleeding from a gunshot wound, hacks the dais's frequency, a screech of distorted mantras as Elara lunges for the leader. "You're murderers," she snarls. He smiles, beatific. "No, gardeners, pruning the rot." Behind him, the dais erupts. A beam of antediluvian light lances into the sky, tearing a wound in the atmosphere. Through it, something shifts, a vast, many-angled shadow, humming with the sound of 1,000 tuning forks. Blavatsky's root race theory prophesied a leap in human evolution. But modern esoteric scholars posit she described a frequency shift, a global consciousness ascending to a higher vibrational state. The temple's triad symbology aligns with the pineal gland's activation, third eye, suggesting the device targets humanity. Esse neuro espiritual antenna. Yet the shadows, fractal geometry, recorded by Felix's drones, matches ultra-terrestrial entities described in CIA gateway process. Documents interdimensional intelligences that feed on psychic energy. Is this enlightenment or harvest? Elara slams the pendant into the dais's core. The obsidian melts, fusing with the light. A scream tears through her, not her own, but her mother's voice, trapped in the beam for decades. "Let me go," Amara begs. "Use me." The shadow convulses, lashing tendrils of plasma. Elara hesitates. Sacrifice her mother's soul to sever the connection, or let humanity become cattle. She chooses, gripping the pendant. She channels Amara's spirit into the beam, rewriting the frequency. The triad symbols invert: serpent shedding its skin, lotus rooting into decay, flame freezing into crystal. The shadow shrieks, collapsing into a singularity that vomits back the stolen energy. That backlash is biblical. Glaciers vaporize, storms eat continents. But when the light fades, the world hums. News feeds erupt. A billionaire drowns himself, donating his fortune. Oil rigs become coral reefs. Wars ceasefire as soldiers drop weapons to plant trees. Mass awakenings or mass psychosis. The UN debates, but Felix's data shows a spike in gamma brainwaves worldwide. It's like the temple backfired, uploaded Blavatsky's code into everyone's heads. In the temple ruins, Elara kneels. The pendant is ash. Amara's voice, finally at peace, whispers, "You balanced the scales." Months later, Elara founds the Athenaeum of Thresholds in Iceland, teaching initiates to listen to the triads hum now, a permanent vibration in the Earth's crust. Pupils report visions, a golden city beneath the Sahara, a library under Antarctica's ice. But Elara guards the darkest truth, etched in Blavatsky's journal after the convergence. The door is closed, not locked. On the school's opening night, a package arrives. No return address. Inside, a scroll from 80,000 BCE, depicting the triad, and a new date, 2125. The cycle, it seems, is patient. Siberian permafrost cracks like a bone under the weight of a midnight sun. A figure kneels in the tundra, frost-limbed gloves brushing snow from a leather scroll case older than language. The howling wind carries voices ancestral, not human as they unseal it. Inside, a triad of serpent, lotus, and flame, inked in a pigment that glows neutron blue. But the date beneath churns the stomach to 1 to 5. First gate, the figure murmurs, breath crystallizing. No. First test, they press a palm to the ice. It shrieks, revealing a megalithic archway buried for millennia, its surface crawling with Blavatsky's symbols. The air tastes of burnt copper, of recursion. The scroll's carbon-dated fibers, 40,000 BCE, predate Homo sapiens, suggesting the root race cycle is not Blavatsky's metaphor, but a relic of a prior iteration of humanity. The triads. Recurrence aligns with archaeologist Dr. Anya Petrov's contested 2032 discovery in Göbekli Tepe, carvings of proto-deities dissolving into the same three symbols. Petrov vanished weeks after publishing her findings. Her notes citing vibrational thresholds in Earth's crust, natural gates that open when collective consciousness hits specific frequencies. 2025 was not an endpoint. It was calibration. The figure slides the scroll into their coat, but the symbols cling, searing through fabric, to tattoo their forearm. They're alive. They rasp, staggering back as the archway's keystone detonates. A shock wave ripples outward, silencing birds for miles. In Reykjavik, Elara Voss jolts awake, her Atlantis lecture notes aflame with the same triad. At the Athenaeum, seismic monitors scream not from tectonic shifts, but from a signal, deep in the mantle, pulsing in perfect sync with the Siberian scrolls glow. By dawn, the archway is gone. Only a message remains, scrawled in ice melt: you passed the first lesson, now survive the syllabus. Siberian permafrost cracks like a bone under the weight of a midnight sun. A figure kneels in the tundra, frost-limbed gloves brushing snow from a leather scroll case older than language. The howling wind carries voices ancestral, not human as they unseal it. Inside, a triad of serpent, lotus, and flame, inked in a pigment that glows neutron blue, but the date beneath churns the stomach. 2125. First gate. The figure murmurs, breath crystallizing. No. First test. They press a palm to the ice. It shrieks, revealing a megalithic archway, buried, for millennia, its surface crawling with Blavatsky's symbols. The air tastes of burnt copper, of recursion. The scroll's carbon-dated fibers, 40,000 BCE, predate Homo sapiens, suggesting the root race cycle is not Blavatsky's metaphor, but a relic of a prior iteration of humanity. The triads. Recurrence aligns with archaeologist Dr. Anya Petrov's contested 2032 discovery in Göbekli Tepe, carvings of proto-deities dissolving into the same three symbols. Petrov vanished weeks after publishing her findings. Her notes citing vibrational thresholds in Earth's crust, natural gates that open when collective consciousness hits specific frequencies. 2025 was not an endpoint. It was calibration. The figure slides the scroll into their coat, but the symbols cling, searing through fabric, to tattoo their forearm. They're alive. They rasp, staggering back as the archway's keystone detonates. A shock wave ripples outward, silencing birds for miles. In Reykjavik, Elara Voss jolts awake, her Atlantis lecture notes aflame with the same triad. At the Athenaeum, seismic monitors scream not from tectonic shifts, but from a signal deep in the mantle, pulsing in perfect sync with the Siberian scrolls glow. By dawn, the archway is gone. Only a message remains, scrawled in ice melt: you passed the first lesson. Now survive the syllabus.